Oh, hi, you guys are here. Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and others. I'm your host, Sach-a-Leen Singh. Today, we're going to start the podcast with a section of jokes. So, if you get offended easily or get offended at all, I would say please skip to the next section. The timestamps are in the description below. So, my inspiration in journalism is Arnab Goswami. A certain journalist's WhatsApp chats were leaked recently. From those chats, it feels like he knew something about the attacks in Kashmir. Now, a certain book says journalistic objectivity requires that a journalist not be on either side of an argument. The journalist must report only the facts and not a personal attitude towards the fact. But since my inspiration is Arnab, I want to ask the said journalist whose WhatsApp chats were leaked the question that the nation wants to know. Why and how did he have that information? Jawab do, mujhe jawab do. Anyways, I know that was bad. Going on to the next one. Raghu Ram got rejected from Indian Idol season 1, who attained fame with roadies and then went on to produce movies like Jhoota Hi Sahi and Tismar Khan. This is why Anu Malik now says to rejected contestants, तुम मुंबई नहीं आ सकते. Okay, and now some international jokes. Some people are targeting Nancy Pelosi because she was wearing the same dress on both of Trump's impeachment hearings. These people may not have heard that twice is a coincidence, thrice is a pattern. I'm not saying these people are wrong, I'm just saying don't discount my boy here. Donald has potential for one more. Okay, the next one. Trump lost almost 60 lawsuits, caused a riot, and then conceded to Biden. Last time so much drama happened, राशि बेन ने कुकर में से चने निकाल दिए थे और खाली कुकर गैस पे चढ़ा दिया था. Okay, so Narendra Modi and Trump are friends. If Trump would have had twice the things on his resume than what Modi has, America would have been living in 4004. And now you want to call me anti-national in the description. Just to clarify, Americans, this joke was about our guy, and after all these jokes, I think Trump would require a short coffee fee break. Well, let's get started with our podcast. So, today we're going to talk to someone who helped me with the verbal section of the GRE. It usually started with studying and then ended up in deep conversations about sometimes religion and sometimes mythology. I still remember the first class I took. I was wearing a jacket with a Chelsea crest, seated at the front bench. And he said, "Are you a Chelsea fan?" And I nodded and asked him, "Which Premier League club do you support?" And he said, "Liverpool." I responded with, "It's always the next year for you guys." And he said this, "It's just 5 minutes into the class and I already hate you." And from this, we went on to be good friends and buddies. And then we did carry on with the deep conversations, although sporadically. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, please join your hands for Mr. Rudravir Vashisht. Okay. So hi Rudravir. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Sach-a-Leen. Thanks for having me over here. I'm pretty excited.
Oh,
I watched the first episode that you did.
huh?
Although I'll say I didn't understand much because it was chess, and I'm not. It's not my cup of tea, to be honest. But it
Well,
was intriguing to see.
uh-huh.
This,
Well, all of these
uh,
episodes are actually like different for like the theme is different for every episode. That's why I'm bringing like different people from different walks of life so that viewers can understand and gain knowledge about different things all at one time.
I think
So
yeah, that's the good part. We need to have diversity,
yeah,
versatility, and I think even you, like as far as I remember you, given your personality, we could. I think we talked about like dozens of different things.
yes, we did.
Uh,
Yes,
I remember us talking about football. I remember us talking about AI. I think F1, Formula One. I'm pretty sure you still follow Formula One.
yes, I do.
Yeah, so
Yes,
we've discussed so many things. I think we'll take that forward now. It's been what, more than 2 years?
yeah. Yes, definitely more than 2 years. I think the first class we had was on January 2nd or 3rd of 2018. So yeah,
That's 3 years.
yeah, then
If my
it's
math is
3 years.
correct, that's 3 years. So that's it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot has changed since then. I'm sure you're enjoying your time in US as well.
Yeah, I am, and hope you are too.
Yeah. So we have a lot to discuss. We have a lot on the agenda.
Right. And okay, I'll get directly to it. So there was an article in the Tribune dated December 31st, 2019 by Gurcharan Jagat titled Punjab's
Okay.
Exodus Without an End. And in the section states, and I quote, in due course of time, the economic situation in both Majha and Malwa areas also deteriorated, and the people from these areas also started migrating. New avenues for migrants had opened up in Canada, the USA, Australia, Italy, etc. While the US attracted professionals and doctors, like doctors and technocrats, other countries demanded for semi skilled and unskilled labor. Uh,
Yeah.
and later in another section, it says that today almost the entire rural youth is ready to pay huge amounts of money to travel agents to obtain a visa to migrate to Western countries. It is clear that Punjab is fast losing its youth to this lure of migration. I have personally seen and heard from reliable persons across the state that in most
Yeah.
villages, the older people outnumber the youth. And at the rate which the exodus of the youth is continuing, Punjab will soon be the land of old and the infirm. My question to you is that why is this happening? Why is the youth like why is this actually happening? Why did the youth just rushing towards foreign countries?
I think we should take this question into, like, we should deal with two aspects of it. Like, number one, why is it happening in Punjab particularly?
Okay,
And then we can think of, like, why is it happening all across the country in India? Because there's a lot of immigration from other states as well.
right.
Um, but yes, when you mentioned Canada and Australia, such countries, mostly uh, they attract Punjabi youths.
Yep.
And I think the major reason is because in the beginning of the century, initially, Canada wanted a lot of, like you mentioned, semi-skilled and unskilled labor,
Right.
and Punjab became sort of their, they were feeding off of Punjab because a lot of people were ready to, change. They
Mm-hmm.
were ready to migrate from Punjab to Canada or so, because maybe there were already relatives there.
Right.
They already had relatives there or so on. But if you say why exactly does this happen, I think this is an easy way out. I know it's harsh, it's hard to accept and digest. I've had this discussion a lot of times.
Uh huh.
People don't take it well many times because,
Right.
but I think it's been a long time we've stayed in denial.
Right.
It's the right time to open our eyes. It's a
Mm-hmm.
blind obsession for most of them, because I've been in this profession. I've been teaching students for a long time who have this desire to go abroad.
Right.
And trust me, most of them, when I ask them why do you want to do it, they don't have a real answer. You know,
Okay. Uh huh.
for most of them, surprisingly, for the Punjabi youth, for most of them, it sounds like it's a very natural thing to do. It comes as like a default setting. That's something that surprises me at times. So it's I don't mind people going abroad. I
Right.
don't mind people going to Australia or any other country for that matter. But there's no consciousness in why they are doing it.
Okay. Yeah.
So the awareness, the consciousness is lacking, and I think let's like, truth be told, most of the people are going there, like from Punjab especially, because their cousins, their, I don't know, their neighbors,
Right.
or maybe someone they know is already there.
Right.
So I don't know. It's it's like a FOMO thing, fear of missing out.
Uh-huh.
Everybody believes the grass is greener on the other side. That's probably the case, I guess, because the conversation that I've had, that is what I have concluded out of it. It's
Right.
most of the people, I think, many of my friends are also there. They don't have an easy life. I think you know about that.
Yes, yes, it is true
Yeah,
that
it's
like
not that easy.
yeah, definitely the life is not easy, And then most of the times people like I've got friends in like Canada, I've got friends in the US, I've got friends who came to the US, studied here, went back. I've got friends who
Mm.
are planning to get their like studies done and then go back to India, and then I don't know where I am going with this. Like I have no idea like what I will do with my life yet. So I know that I plan to get my doctorate, and after that like I'll probably think about it. But others like who I've talked to, most of them are very clear. Like most of them are like very clear about like where they want to go with it. But The thing is that there is definitely struggle, and then people have to do work,
Yeah, but
in
I
like.
mean, being confused is okay. Like confusion marks the beginning of a lot of things. If you're not confused, then you're not thinking. That's what I feel.
Uh-huh.
So you can never have straight up answers for everything.
Right.
But the problem is they're not even confused. It's like they just want to go there. They want to. It's like I don't think any job is like lesser than the other.
Right.
But when they step outside, they are ready to do any menial job as well,
Yep.
just to stay there, get a PR, or maybe one day the dream comes true to becoming a citizen.
Right.
I don't mind whether like whatever job they're doing, but I think most of the people are worthy of much better, so they
Right.
can do many better things than what they're doing.
Are they just
So
lacking
this is again
ambition?
from,
Sorry to interrupt, but
I guess so, not lacking ambition or also lacking courage. So
okay.
because I see a lot of in the past 20 years or so, Punjab has declined so much as far as the economy goes.
Mm-hmm.
uh, the current farmer situation we can see is happening now. This is whatever we're
Right.
seeing right now. I'm not going to comment on the validity of the
Yeah.
protests,
Mm-hmm.
but the point is, okay, let's agree on one thing, that the farmers are in distress.
Okay.
They have a
Yes.
very terrible situation, right?
Right. Yeah.
But this the consequence.
Uh-huh.
This has finally happened, but it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It was happening so many years, maybe decades. And the result is right in front of our eyes.
Right.
And nobody, I think I've had this such conversation with so many people in the past 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to address the causes of it. Everybody is going gaga over whatever is happening right now.
Right.
They want to be a part of it. They want to show the revolution of stuff. And this is, I think, something that's in the DNA of Punjab. We are very emotional people naturally.
Yes.
You know. So when things go, but we wait for the 11th hour for everything.
Right.
We wait when things go beyond our control, and then we react.
Right.
So this is something I think the consciousness has to be brought back. Uh, if I talk about the causes of this, I think many things are to be blamed. Parenting is number one. I always put parenting as the. We know how
Right.
how people in Punjab,
Yeah.
the people with lands in Punjab,
Yeah.
they sort of raise their children. I think it's not the best way to do it.
True that. Yes.
There's a fake pride and fake swagger all through the songs that come up. I think we've discussed that
Yes.
earlier as well. The songs that we usually listen to. So they are a reflection of what is really happening in society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I
So
had
what
this.
is your experience?
No, I had this idea that I think the last time we were talking about like parents should actually move to a smaller house once a kid is born, just to teach them how to be humble. If that works, like that is one way of doing it. You can obviously stay in a mansion and still be humble. There are many examples of that. But like still that part, like definitely being humble,
It's a
and
good
then
thought. I can't deny it's not a bad thought. It's a good thought, but it can just be. It's not a practical solution. We know that
right, yeah.
it's never going to be implemented.
Yeah, but it
Nobody.
would be
And
good to like have this thing, like once you're 18 on your 18th birthday, parents like, oh, we're just millionaires, we were just doing it to like teach you to be humble, and then
I
you're like,
don't think
oh,
that's gonna happen. You know why? This is not even a Punjab thing. Uh, every parent wants their children to do better than what they did
yeah,
as children.
right,
And they want to give the best monetarily or however you want to
true that, yes,
give the best to your child.
hmm,
They would never deny any privilege that he or she can have if they can afford it,
yes,
right? This, I think, it's a good thought. It's like, I don't know, it would be utopia if this ever happens, but I don't see that happening, especially in Punjab. No, yeah,
yeah. Oh well, that also actually brought another thought to my mind. So like uh, migrant labor also comes into Punjab to work,
yeah, exactly.
and then they're
Yes.
not treated well. And then
Mm,
when Punjabis go out as semi-skilled laborers or skilled laborers,
mm,
laborers,
yeah,
like outside, like they expect it to be treated because the foreign countries are known to have equal respect for everyone. Everyone is treated with the same
exactly. Yeah.
respect, apart from like somewhat racism, but that's a different topic altogether. But
That's always going to be there. Yeah. That's
yeah,
always going to be there.
but they're still treated, with the same amount of respect. But when you
Mm,
look at people like who come into Punjab, we always treat them as outsiders. We call them names. we
Mm.
keep them out of the whole idea. The opinions are not valued. The same thing when it happens to us.
Never,
It's
never,
it's
yeah.
it's diff, it's something which is very, and then we always believe in the caste system, but when we go outside again, this has happened, and then we're like, oh, like our lives also matter, but like is it like so there are two things which are happening and they're like in the same world,
I,
but still
I
like
think
very
in
different.
this context, I just recalled an incident. One of my friends, he told me, I think more than a couple of years back. So
Uh-huh.
neither somebody in Ludhiana, the labor people that you're talking about.
Yep.
So they had a fight with their landlords or the people they serve,
Uh-huh.
um, and they were actually distressed or they were very disturbed with the way they are treated. Of course,
Right.
we know. I'm not saying that everybody does it, but I
Yes.
think we can generalize. It's okay to generalize
Yep.
that we know how things go about in Punjab. So there's this guy who probably said that that Guru Gobind Singh was also from Bihar.
Uh-huh.
He's actually from Patna. So
Yes,
would you
yes.
have treated him also the same way?
Right.
Somebody asked this question,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a very very intelligent question to ask,
Yeah, exactly.
right? And my friend told me that the guy who asked this question was beaten up like anything just because he asked such a question. So
That is bad.
this
I
is
think there were
something,
also
yeah.
some kind of protests or something, not protests actually, but I think this was around 3 4 months ago. There was this some kind of rally in Australia or something, and another guy was beaten up. It was not like they had a fight, so the Sikh guy was beaten up there. It was because he was saying something. Again, I would like to say this to our viewers that not all Sikhs understand what's actually being like what's actually there. There would be like a certain percentage in every religion who just there for just for the name of it. So they were just trying to do
For
that.
the identity, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Hmm.
that happened, and then he got beaten up. So I'm against the violence, obviously, but again, I'm also against saying stuff which incites or like if, makes other people itch some
Which
in
can
some
become
way.
the
They're
cause
there.
of the
Yeah.
violence, which can
Right.
actually lead to violence.
Right.
Again, I think I'll reiterate my point. It's so we discuss a lot of the consequences, not the causes.
Right.
This is where I think a lot of sense of responsibility has to kick in the
Yes.
entire country. Actually, I see a lot of people. I don't know. I should say I'm not an authority to say this. I
Uh-huh.
might come as a I don't know. I'm not, but think I see a lot of Indians without sense.
Uh-huh.
And when I say without sense, I think they don't have sense of anything. They don't have sense of economy. They
Right.
don't have a sense of their life. They don't have a sense of the community. They don't have a sense of a country. Nothing. They just live life like I don't know, very very unconsciously.
Right.
So, for example, in India, I think everybody loves when loans are waived off, when things are given out for free. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
recently I was talking to someone and he said, Kejriwal has, I don't know, he came up with some scheme in which the women will travel for free in the buses,
Oh.
right? I just
Yeah.
told him one thing. Okay, let's say they traveling for free. Somebody has to pay for it, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's how the economy works. If he because the money has to be spent, where
Yes.
is the money going to come from? So
Right.
they will extract money from somewhere else. They'll increase taxes from somewhere else.
Right. That's true.
So for all these 75 odd years, I think our mentality has become very very, I'll say, inferior. It has regressed a lot. We
Mm-hmm.
want things to be given to us rather than we be becoming capable of doing things ourselves. So
Right.
I think there's a quote, very popular quote that give a man a fish and you'll feed him
Yes.
for one night,
Right.
and teach him to you'll feed him for a lifetime. So
Right.
this is
That's true.
something Indians don't want to do.
Yeah.
We become very lazy. We've become very very lazy.
Yes. And
So
there's also this
I
that like
feel, yeah, sure.
okay, yeah. So well, there's also this that if you look at when people migrate to the foreign countries, I also figure this like there's some sort of pattern that people who are already here do not want the new ones to come in, because they feel that that
Yeah.
especially a lot in Canada. If you look at it, a lot of singers have been talking
Around
about
here
it.
a lot, yes, yes.
Yeah, because they're like students like who migrate from Punjab to Canada who are like just going in. They do not have a place to live. They have very
Hmm.
limited amount of financial resources, right? That
Hmm.
maybe most of them do not know a lot of other people wherever they land,
Yeah.
right? And then
Hmm.
they try to get into some kind of gurudwara or some place to get shelter, and then people like who are citizens there, like Punjabis, Sikhs, not the other ones, but Sikhs who are citizens there, are like trying not like push very hard that they should not be allowed to stay in the gurudwaras itself, and that I've seen like quite a lot like that. Our people do not are not happy if someone is trying to progress. They're trying to pull each other down, and like they just like working in relative part and not in like relative in terms of themselves and not towards the whole world's frame of reference. So we're
I
just
think that
there like in we're starting, yeah.
definitely it would be. I trust you on this one, but I think it's I believe it's in our DNA. You see, every struggle that this country has faced or maybe has gone through,
Hmm.
every time we were ditched by our own people.
Right.
The revolt of 1857, we were ditched by a few kings, a
Right.
couple of them from Punjab. So the thing is that we were always backstabbed by our own people. Still, it's happening, and I don't know. It's in our DNA. We want to pull each other down. Uh,
Right.
Rather than we be successful, we don't want the other to be successful.
Yeah.
Right?
That
So
has been
that's
nice.
something. It'll take generations to sort of remedy.
Yeah,
It will
but
take
how
generations.
many? I think, as you said, if it is in our generations, from it has been like over 2 centuries now since the first incident you have
When
got.
we have a sense of community, something like we have a sense of, again, like I said, we have a sense of community only when things go completely out of hand.
Right. Or things
Right?
have to go, like, when we have to do the wrong thing.
Exactly.
So I think the last time we
Because,
were talking, yeah,
when you talked about the Sikhs and the Gurdwaras, and maybe many people won't consider me the authority to talk on this, but
right.
of course, I've seen this like most of the pins in Punjab have more than two Gurdwaras for
Yeah.
different castes.
Yeah.
So one is a Jat Gurdwara, the other is a Ramdasiya Gurdwara, there is
Right.
a the Sainik or whatever Dalit Gurdwara, whatever you want to call it. And there's a lot of discrimination happening there as well. People don't
There is
address it.
discrimination. Yes, there is definitely discrimination. I can agree to it. Yes.
So this, I when somebody, and I also feel when you said that somebody moves outside, they don't want other people to join or come in. It's also because they want to be the, uh, I don't know, they want to give out an impression that they're doing something very special. I think this is a very human nature as well. Like if I know someone who's
Right.
influential, I probably won't want my friends to be friends with him as well.
Yes.
If you know what I'm saying, like
Yes. Yes.
it's like the sense of exclusiveness.
Yeah.
That is something that's sort of getting us kicking us in the back. Uh, Again, I think it all boils down to this responsibility and some basic sense. It's some consciousness. I think that's the right word. The right word is consciousness.
Right. That's
We
true.
don't, we else we are just like headless chickens. That's what I can see all around. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to the next question. So the next question that I have doesn't just pertain to the youth of Punjab, but to the youth of almost everywhere. The youth, especially in the teens, seek validation online on social media sites. I'll read a few excerpts from the article published on medium.com titled The Slippery Slope of Seeking Online Validation. It says,
Okay.
there's a thing about instant gratification. Validation is it's a dark truth. The more we go out and seek for it, the more it can evade us. Like the perfect wave for a rust surfer, a rare bird for the restless bird watcher, a hit song for a bored songwriter, or a soulmate for the lonely heart. Well, I know something about the last one. Anyways, and there's another but then there's a new paradigm that comes when we completely let go, when we show up just for the sake of showing up as ourselves, no agenda, no desired outcome on our mind,
Mm.
and we just get down and dirty authentic, when we actually talk, uh,
Yeah.
uh, and we have proper conversations. So my question is that the youth looking online and looking at online validation and making things worse for its future, because what I feel is that the so-called content creators are rushing behind the numbers and not really content itself.
Of course they will. When everything becomes so commercialized, why wouldn't they? I think recently the WhatsApp is in a big controversy.
Right.
Signal and all such apps are coming up. Maybe Twitter is also is facing a backlash. Facebook is facing a backlash.
Right.
It's because people have sort of woken up now. A certain section has, I can say, if not all, a certain section
Yes.
definitely has woken up and they started asking questions.
Yes.
And when you talk about validation, this is something that's again, very humane. Now it's become more convenient to do.
Right.
You can, like the word is used, instant gratification.
Yes.
Now, who doesn't like it? Like taking drugs gives you an instant kick.
Right.
That's like, I think understand the dopamine that kicks in. It
Uh-huh.
kicks in from many sources. Drugs do that for you. Coffee does that for you.
Yeah.
Alcohol does that for you. Social media does it for you. So the
Yeah.
number of likes that you get, the more dopamine it gets
Right.
triggered in your brain. So I think it's a very temporary way of seeking gratification. I think you understand what I'm saying. It doesn't
Uh-huh.
live long, and it has very toxic effects.
Right.
So it's just like any other drug. It's going to be temporary.
Okay.
Tomorrow you're gonna have a hangover and you'll feel bad about it. That's it.
Right.
So why do they do it? It's only because it's become more convenient.
Yeah.
You can do everything on the. I think, like, okay, what, I'm almost 30 now. I've still seen some. Um, I've done some work where I have to step out from home and get things done. I think you've also seen
Right.
some sort. You've seen. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if, let's say, talk about somebody who's born after the year 2000, somebody who's like 19, 18, 20 years old right now.
Right.
They probably haven't ever been to a bank. Trust me.
Yeah.
They haven't even been to a bank to maybe deposit cash or do something else.
Right.
So because everything can be done so conveniently with the click of a button,
Right.
because of that, I think what are, like, this, that has become their virtual reality. That has become their world. It's
Yeah.
everything that they're going to seek. Either it's going to be validation or any argument or any disagreements, or maybe if they're sad, if they want to talk about something, if they're
Uh-huh.
happy, they want to share something. Everything is going to happen on that one device.
Right.
So when we talk about our childhood, I think we did these different things in very different ways.
Yes.
We could simply reach out to a friend physically and talk to him if we were going through a bad time.
Yeah.
And that's a huge. There's a hell lot of a difference in these two things.
Right.
So I actually call this romanticizing sadness.
Okay.
So the youth has now they romanticize sadness. They take sympathy. They give themselves sympathy
Uh-huh.
when they give sympathize with themselves. I think that also gives them a, if not dopamine, but that definitely gives them a kick.
Right.
So I think Osho said this once, and
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have been more right when he said that happiness is far away, right? You have to
Mm-hmm.
travel to reach to that.
That's
Everybody wants it, but you need to do something. You need to travel to it. But
that.
sadness is right here. So just hold on to it. So many people hold on to their sadness and make it an identity and sympathize with themselves. Expect people to sympathize with them with them.
Right.
And I think we've seen very I'll say the dark side of social media now, like you mentioned, for
Yeah.
the youth,
Yeah.
right? You're seeing a lot of things happening which shouldn't have been happening, like which some of which almost sound unnatural, and I feel shocked as to why or how did it happen.
Right.
So there has to be some sort of a parental control or something. I don't know. I have this tendency of blaming the parents and everything. I don't know how right I am with this,
But
but
I
I
think
think
yes, you're right. Like at least to some part, like especially in
yeah.
the Americas, what I've seen is that parents don't give their kids a phone until like they're in grade 10 or something. They give their parents like parents give their kids gadgets more or less like iPad or something. There's a Wi-Fi connection or something.
Steve Jobs. I think
But
Steve Jobs didn't give his kids a phone until they turned 18.
yeah,
So this is the guy who is the reason why everybody has a phone in their hands, and he's so
yeah,
bloody conscious. He's so
right,
smart to
yeah,
not do to his own children, do the same to his own children.
right,
I think that should give us send out a message to people that. Uh, but again, I think the thing that we started with nowadays, especially because I won't say especially in India because I know only the Indian parenting system.
uh-huh,
It's basically become like this, that if they can afford it, then why not?
right,
It's a matter of pride now. You
yeah.
know,
I
so
see.
if
Yeah,
they can afford things for their kids, why shouldn't they? They should
yeah,
get a phone at the age of 12. Who cares?
yeah. I think you are right. Like most of the cases, it has become a thing for the ego and not like about the kids' future or something else.
Okay, tell me honestly, how many things? The phone is a very good device. It's a very useful device. A laptop is a very useful device.
Yep.
Tell me honestly, how many kids do you think are actually learning things off of these devices? it's just very, there's like a bit like, minuscule percentage
Right. That is
who's
true.
actually going out and probably reaching out to things, unexplored territories. He's trying to learn something,
Right.
get to know things which he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Maybe does some course. Nothing. No, most of them are not doing it. Especially the more urbanized you become,
Yeah.
uh, you are more influenced by these social media influencers
Right.
in your life, YouTubers or the, I
Yeah.
would call them, what
The
they,
Instagram or
Instagram.
social media
Yeah,
influencers, yes.
Instagram. Yeah,
Oh,
Instagram.
but
I think is the
this
peak.
brings me to
It's
another
the
question.
peak.
Yeah.
It's the peak millennial app.
Yes. Yes.
Instagram.
Right. Yes. I
And
mean,
Snapchat as well.
yeah. Oh, Snapchat. Oh, definitely. And
I
then,
personally don't use Snapchat, so I don't know much about it. But I'm
uh-huh.
pretty sure it's not a great app.
Yeah, it is again about like validation. So you have like you get snap scores and snap streaks and a lot more other things. But then,
Exactly.
so that brings me to another question. So you said that people look for sympathy, and I think on social media also, I think they capitalize on that sympathy, and I think that has been like there over the. If you see reality shows, it has been there. But another thing that I would like to point out is that you said that a certain section has actually woken up, which has been asking questions or looking for
Yeah.
answers. Now they do get some answers, but then when they have to like when the information has or the knowledge has to go from that section to the rest of the world, the
Hmm.
channels or the gap is quite a lot. What I mean to say by that is that there's a lot of room for interpretation. If someone has to say something, the news
Yeah.
or the information is being twisted in such a way that
Hmm.
the rest of the world is not actually getting it or is not actually trying to verify if someone has said it or not. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not actually trying to just point at
Yeah,
fake
yeah,
news. I'm just
yeah.
trying to say the information is not like going like there's no
It's
proper
not mixing
channel.
up with, yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
if the channels are like they're just quite compressed or like pretty meager if you ever try to like
I,
find them.
I think people have already chosen which information platform do they want to trust.
Hmm.
That's a fact. Like I heard this joke once. I won't do justice to it because I don't know the exact way he told it, but it was something like that. My friend told me, what you are saying is fake news.
Right.
So I asked him, how do you know this? So I said, he said from the other news.
Yeah.
So one, like it's a battle of, like, I think it's so much, the world is polarized at a never before level
Yeah.
because of the media,
Yeah.
right? So when you say that there's a gap in information, I think it's a very fundamental thing. It's okay, let's say a section has woken up. I understand that. I
Yeah.
see it positively because it's at least a start.
Yeah.
I would say our parents and grandparents generations have been very unconscious generations, because they probably didn't know any. It's more like innocence rather than anything else,
Yeah.
because they didn't have any clue what's it's because of the internet and social media that people have started realizing what went
Right.
through things, like what went behind the things that happened or
Yes.
are happening. But our parents, because of lack of these devices and all this technology, I
Yeah.
think they have been sort. I'd rather say that they were shown a dream, right? They were shown which probably they didn't even want.
Right.
And they were shown a life like this is the way to, and they had no choice but to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that in that sense, it's definitely it's refreshing to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think it's a lot of chaos in the world right now. Wherever you see, whichever country you look at,
Right.
there's a lot of chaos. But I always feel that chaos marks the beginning of peace.
Right.
That if there is like before peace, there has to be some sort of a chaos.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years will it take, how many decades or centuries will it take, but I see the positive side of it, and I see this. It is a beginning. It is a
Right.
beginning.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is definitely true. So, also, I think one thing that I feel uh, the youth is like if you talk about like the youth, the current youth, like especially if you talk about like the exodus part, uh,
Yeah.
the thing is they're not like as you said in the previous section that our parents did not have those facilities for the devices.
Yeah.
Now thing is the current youth definitely has those devices, internet and everything. It's like almost they're like almost more phones than people in every home, and I guess even more number of internet connections or something like that sort, right?
That's true.
So So I think still the youth is not going towards the knowledge or information. They're just trying to live in their own bubble. Now that's what they should be doing in COVID time, like physically, but not like in your like the environmental part. You know, you need to go towards
Because
information.
there's a lot of distraction. I mean, if humans have mastered one thing over so many years, it's distraction. We are masters in that.
Yeah.
We get distracted just quickly, right? If we're sitting in a classroom and a bird flies outside the window,
Right.
we instantly see it,
Yeah.
even if we know it's a bird. That's how we have sort of trained our mind. The biggest training we've given our mind is distraction. So when you hand over a phone to a kid,
Right.
so I think the first thing he'll look for is not knowledge, of course,
Yes.
because there are so many other things to look at. So when parents give phone to the children so that he or she eats food, I think you've seen that in many
Yes. Yes.
households.
Definitely.
Because if the kid is not, he's fussing around, not eating his meal, give
Right.
him the phone and distract him with the phone,
Yeah.
play some video or maybe some game,
Yeah.
and he'll eat the food. So that is how a 4-year-old is trained. Why wouldn't he become that? Why would he seek knowledge? Whereas there is so many other fun things to do on a phone.
Right.
So again, you want to blame parenting, or and technology is never to be blamed. First of all, like social
Right.
media is never to be blamed for this.
Yeah.
Uh, it's so useful.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that is useful. Let's say I'll give an example. Let's say, um, okay, if somebody is a cripple, right? If
Right.
somebody is a handicapped person, so
Yeah.
if he's using a stick to walk,
Yeah.
now that stick is very helpful for him,
Yes.
right? But also keep in mind that he was a cripple. That is why
Right.
he needed a stick.
Yeah.
Fine. Or let's say he's injured or whatever. So he
Yeah.
needs a stick to, or maybe you're trekking somewhere, you need that stick, or maybe some equipment that you want,
Yeah.
and that is
Additional.
helping.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
But you don't want to keep it forever in your life. You
Right.
don't want to sort of revolve your life around that. So I
Yeah.
think treat a mobile phone or laptop or any technologies like that. So as far as they're useful, we can use it, but we cannot make our lives around it. Or maybe in the case of the internet, we are making a life inside of it.
Right.
So I saw this. I was not aware of. I'm not very great with technology, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
So I saw this VR headsets that have come out. I'm
Yes.
sure you know about those.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the
Yes.
very new technology. I know that it's an old.
Right.
It's relatively old,
Yeah.
but I saw a few videos of how things work in a VR reality, and I read about people who stayed in that VR headset for I think more than 24 hours, and they couldn't really come back. And when they came back to the real reality,
Yeah.
for many it took them many hours to come back to the senses.
Yeah.
So the question has to be asked: how much of it do we need? How much of it is commercialized?
Right.
You know.
That is true.
So yes, then you can never stop technology from growing. It's like it can never stop.
Yeah.
But how much
But
of the
will it
technology,
grow
like
so much to like come and bite us back? You know, that's the other
could be.
question.
I think as Elon Musk says that AI is very dangerous. Like I didn't believe that AI is very dangerous, but I somewhat believe when he says it. I don't know why I trust that guy.
Well, see, I work
Uh,
in AI, so what I can tell you is that most of the times, like classification algorithm or something are like very difficult to manage because there's a lot of things that go into it's just pure maths. So the computer doesn't know it's actually trying to classify between two things right now. It just knows that it's working with some numbers like some zeros and ones, and then it has certain like multiplications or something, adds a few things, and then just blurts out a number which we interpret as a classification model or something, you know. And then let's talk about Tesla's autopilot. It's basically looking at a lot of cameras, which is images again, which is again, so an image, just for the sake of explanation, an image is uh, a three channel thing. So it's a red, green, blue, with every pixel having a value from 0 to 255 or something of that sort. And then when you add them, it gives you a proper image. So what the AI would probably be doing is this. Now I say probably because I do not know what exactly they're using. Is that they would actually go through a lot of angles, and then and also the ultrasonic sensors. So it would create a 3D cloud point data. Now think of cloud
okay.
point data as that there's a space, and you can
Yeah.
virtually figure out like at what point what thing is there, and it is trying
I think
to
I get it. Yeah.
identify it, and then using basic physics, which a lot of game engines already have. Using basic physics, it's figuring out how fast the car is going, and how like how much deceleration or acceleration to put on it, and all that customizability. So I think that like is a very basic or a vague model of it, but that's what is happening. So AI currently is like pretty dumb, apart from a few I would say a few instances where they created their own language and started talking, or where
Yeah,
it
that's what
started
I
to
was
like,
actually trying to come at.
yeah.
So I think Facebook did this experiment where they created a language and then AI created a language of its own.
Yes, yeah. I think
Uh,
that
so
was
like,
those were the
I think
news.
you are a
Yes.
better judge of this, or maybe a better. Sorry, you can give me a better comment. Like, if we simply put it, like, are you afraid or worried about AI?
Right now, no. So to, like, as I've been saying it to a lot of my friends, and whenever this thing comes up, that currently think of us like in terms of AI as around before we broke the sound barrier in physics, so we are like there. So there's a lot more to understand, to discover or invent before we actually reach a place where we can say that AI is like worthy, you know. But currently, I think AI is like so far behind right now in terms of what the world is currently and where the AI is. Once we get there, I think once there are like at least a couple of more good inventions or discoveries, I think then we can say that AI will be at par with physics.
Okay, so what is Elon Musk like about? Like, because he's been saying that AI is very dangerous for many years now. He says we should actually curb it,
Yeah,
we should control
that's
it,
the
we should.
idea, I think, because once the thing is like again in computer science, it's not the issue of magnitude, because you can obviously achieve it. It's about you have to just do it once you do it, once that threshold is achieved, then it can be
Yeah.
replicated pretty quickly. Anyone with a
Yeah.
PC can actually make a game right now. The first people,
Okay.
like people who made the first game, that was the most difficult step. So the thing is, there are a lot
Definitely,
of
yeah.
brilliant minds there, and who are like working on a lot of stuff. So once someone or like someone like cracks it, once it's or they just get to it, cross the threshold, everyone will be able to do it. And then you think, so this is a very lame example, but think of Chetty, like that the robo thingy that we had, the movie by Rajnikant. It
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I get it.
so
Yes, I
think
haven't
of it
watched
as
the film, but I know of it. Yes.
so think of it as like he did it one time, right?
Okay.
And then it caused such an issue. But this is a very very stupid example. I'm just giving it like for
No,
like
but I
a
get the
very
gist of it. Yes.
layman part. Yeah. But think of it as that everyone has one of them. Because it is very easy to
Okay.
replicate once it is done, and that is where the chaos starts. That is what
You
my
never,
like. Yeah.
so basically, you never know what kind of a mind is actually using it right now.
Yes.
I mean, the intention of the person, basically.
Right. Yeah. Because it's just code. You can like ask machine to do a lot of stuff, and it can do it. Like the thing is that it's just how you adjust the code or what parameters you set, and it's not about what intentions they are. There's plenty of like as
Right.
like there's always like a certain
I've,
percent of
I've been
people who are like, yeah.
I've been pretty fascinated by these Tesla cars, honestly.
Oh yeah.
I'm not
Yes.
a fan of cars, like generally.
Right.
It's like, but Tesla is something that really fascinates me.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
it does.
like
Definitely. Yeah. If you even
you
if
can
you
have a
look at like,
software, yeah,
yeah.
you can have a software update at night, and tomorrow morning your car runs faster. Like that's that was unfathomable, even a couple of years back. So
Right, that
that's
that
I
that
mean,
is true. And then everything has been like put into the software. So if you look at the Model 3, if like there are
right,
almost no buttons on
right.
the whole car. It's just the one screen and then two buttons on the steering wheel. That's it. That's pretty much it, I guess. And then I guess with the latest version, they've also introduced like wireless charging and everything with it. And if you
Yeah,
look
they
at
have.
Model X, so its doors are like Falcon doors. So they open like sideways, but then it also senses that if there's someone else, some other car around it,
Some of the
and
car, yeah.
and then they'll
It
open
also
with a
opens in tight
different
spaces.
angle, you know.
Exactly.
So
I've seen that. I've seen that. It can open in tight spaces as well.
right, so
But I think Elon Musk was embarrassed when he. You remember that he threw this steel ball on the
the cyber
They
truck.
had
Yeah.
truck, right? The cyber truck. It broke. That was
Yeah.
really embarrassing. But shit
Yeah, but
happened.
that again doesn't like pertain to a lot of AI part of it. It's okay. Like all those things happened. The first Tesla car came out was actually a petrol car or a diesel car. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but it was like a fossil fuel car and all that stuff again. And then he had this vision of actually going on with like an automated vehicle. And then he also had this part where he wanted to land a rocket and like he wanted to
Yeah.
like have like a rocket lifted off and then also land it with the Falcon
Landed by
series.
him.
I think
But
the
I
Falcon
think
series. Yeah.
he has successfully done it. I
Yes.
think at least thrice.
Yes. But there's still like there's still mishaps happening there. You would find here and there like rocket bursts or something, but that's okay because now that's research. Once that is done or perfected, again, it'll be easily
It will be
replicable.
easier for people. It can also be manipulated in many ways, and
Yes.
yeah, I understand. Like, but I don't understand technology that much, but I get the logic of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, that is definitely there. Well, I think
I think
it has been a good discussion. So let's get on to our next section, which is a movie. So, which movie do you want to discuss?
uh, I think we share many common, I
Uh,
say, thoughts and ideas or whatever you
right.
want to call those. So I'm pretty sure you've seen that film Gulal. Have you?
Uh-huh.
Student
I think
politics.
you recommended it to me. It was quite a
I,
long time
I
ago.
should have because I
Yes.
recommend that film to a lot of people in the class. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very different sort of movie. And you know why I find it even more interesting is because I am someone who's always been against student politics. I feel
Right.
that there should be no parties and politics in universities.
Mm-hmm.
That's a waste of time. You know what happens in Punjab University, we
Yeah.
all know that. It's all about elections.
Yeah.
So, but I think Gulal is beyond that in a way because it also touches a nerve. It also touches you where, like the music, especially the songs that
Right.
Piyush Mishra has written,
Oh yes.
they're really, really good. So,
And I did hear a
like I
story about Piyush Mishra. So he was talking this at like some conference or something, and he said that he wrote all those songs. Like so, he like tried to write all those songs as some music or something, and he was not able to do it for like a long time. And then he just sat down somewhere in Mumbai, like at a very crowded place, and he like for I guess those are like seven odd songs, and he wrote a song each day or composed the music for all those songs like one day, like one song a day, and he did like he did it like that was so amazing, that people find their like peace in chaos and like Piyush Mishra is a
Piyush Mishra
very
is one of a kind.
yes
He's one of a
yes
kind.
yes that's very true.
I think one of his verses from his song from Gulal, it was I think Sarfaroshi ki tamanna. I think you know which song I'm talking about.
Right.
So, like we initially we were discussing Punjab and Indian youth and stuff. So there's this one verse in it which I won't sing, but I'll sort of recite
Uh-huh.
it. It said, "ओरे बिस्मिल काश आते आज तुम हिंदुस्तान
Right.
देखते मुल्क सारा ये टशन ये थ्रिल में है."
Yes.
Like आज का लौंडा ये कहता हम तो बिस्मिल थक गए
Uh-huh.
अपनी आजादी तो भैया लौंडिया के तिल में है.
That's
So
true.
this
Yes.
is something very I don't know, symbolic of
Right.
what is happening. It's strange. It's
That's actually true. And if you actually listen to a lot of his songs, the other one which I would like to tell our viewers is Utja Bhau, if you've heard that.
ah,
And
yes.
he talks about a lot of things. And even in this one, the the one,
आरंभ है cricket.
yes, that is, but the other one, which also talks about a lot of current affairs. It's short as an item number, but it's a very political song.
In Gulal, is it?
Yes, in Gulal.
Let me pull it up. Let me try to find if I can.
Yep, yep.
Ah, it's been a long time I've watched that film. I think I'll watch it again. I've
Alright.
seen it I think six,
Yes.
seven times,
And
but
I
I
think a
like it.
lot of viewers, if you haven't watched this movie, try looking it up. It's probably on YouTube. You can, I think, maybe find
I
it
think
on
it's
Netflix or
available.
something.
It's available for free on YouTube.
Yes, yes.
And if you, I think I must have recommended another film because I usually do that with Gulal. It was what was it? Buddha ke
Bohemian
traffic jam.
Traffic Jam.
Yeah,
I
that
remember.
was
I
really
watched
good
it too.
also.
Yes. Both of
Yeah.
them have like the common thing is both of them
Oh, really?
has Mahim Mahil.
That
Yeah.
was an eye opener for me, to be honest. That film.
Yes. I was
It will
very
be an eye opener
yes.
for a lot of people if you watch it,
Yeah.
the viewers.
Yeah.
So I just let's see what song are we talking about? Gulal. Oh, it was seven odd songs there.
Yes, yes, something that's not.
Sheher,
No.
Rana Ji, Yara
Yes,
Maula,
the Rana Jivan song. Yeah.
Rana Ji. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's an item number basically. It's
Yes,
shown as
it
an
is an
item number.
item number, but it's actually a very, very good song about talking about all the current affairs and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Even
a really good.
Sheher, I think Sheher is the one, right? It's a उजला ही उजला शहर होगा
Yeah.
इसमें हम तुम बनाएंगे घर. That's the
Yes,
Sheher song, right?
I think.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I think
No,
maybe.
I don't. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
but
Piyush Mishra, like Aram Hai Prachand was used by BJP in the 2014 election. You know that?
yeah, I think you told me that when I was talking
Yeah.
about when we were
So,
like when we
so
first
they,
talked about Gulal. I think that's when like
so they used Aram Hai Prachand as their theme song, like as
yeah,
their campaign anthem, rather.
yeah.
And Piyush Mishra objected to it.
Oh,
That but he legally couldn't do anything because he had already sold his song to some
uh-huh.
recording people. I don't know. Yeah,
Right.
but that's what. Oh,
Yeah.
Dunia is another good song. If you
Yeah.
remember.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, I
Wo-
still remember that. And then one of those lines goes कि गालिब के मोमिन के ख्वाबों की दुनिया मजाजों की उन कलामों
हाँ,
की दुनिया
yeah.
फैज़ फिराक शाहिर
ये दुनिया
साहिर
अगर
मखदूम
मिल भी जाए तो क्या है?
नहीं
You know
just
that
all
that
those
share
like
is not
yes
that share is of Sahir Ludhianvi.
right
You know that?
yeah
So there was this shire from Ludhiana called Sahir Ludhianvi.
Sahir
That
Ludhianvi
share,
yes
yeah, it's his share. That
uh-huh.
ये दुनिया अगर मिल भी जाए तो
Jai
क्या?
to
That
kya
entire
right
verse, it's his. So he used it.
right
I always like. I think you also have this. Uh, I don't know how to put it, but you love Sartaj. I also I'm a
yes
big Sartaj
right
fan.
yeah
So that I think everybody should have this. We can discuss politics and youth and whatnot, but when I retire in my bed, I want to listen to uh, such people, their
right
creation, their
yeah
composition.
that's very
That
true
that gives the peace of mind. Like
yes
Sartaj, I'm a massive Sartaj. I think you're a bigger Sartaj fan than I am.
but
I can
I think everyone
prove
is
that.
like a fan in their own way. I just like I love the simplicity and then the kind of
Mhm.
words he used and a lot of his songs which
And
are like
also the voice, I
unrecorded.
think
Yeah,
his
yeah,
voice has a very natural treble.
yes,
It's like he doesn't even require the musical instruments at times, I feel.
yes, yes.
It's a very fine quality
Have
voice.
you ever been to a live show of Sartaj?
Bob Sartaj? No, no,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
just been like once, and I remember it because it was I guess 28th of something June probably. It was like around 15 odd days from my GRE, so I still remember
Okay.
that. So yeah, it was a free show in 17 Plaza. It was the last day of
Acha.
some music thing, and
Mhm.
he usually so dials down all the instruments when he's actually like singing, and then he also
Yeah.
sings things or like songs which are not recorded or verses which are not recorded. And if you
Yeah.
ever like listen to like his like live shows like which are recorded obviously but not like as
Mhm.
songs but as live shows,
Yeah.
he always says that like he probably starts a bit late but then he's like I'll sing until you guys say like stop.
Mhm.
And then he always goes on and like 3 hours like singing for 3 hours and then with that depth it is amazing. When I try to sing for 5 minutes my throat goes so
That's what I think that's a sadhana. Right? These all
yes
these musicians uh, like I can when you said 3 hours, I can recall Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan as well.
yes yes yes
I think he's
another
somebody who I don't know how to put it politely, but he's somebody who couldn't walk 10 steps
right
without
yeah
getting out of breath. But he could sit for 4 to 5 hours and sing his lungs out.
beautifully
And boy,
yes
he was talent. Like he
that's
was
true
different. He was
yeah
different gravy, I'll say.
yeah yeah you
I
like
think
yes
Gulal is the movie to watch.
yes
This week's movie on such a clean podcast. I think it's our recommendation is Gulal. Yes,
yes
go for it.
right, that is true. Well, coming back to Sartaj, I did have one other point. I think the other thing why I respect that guy again is because he's a doctorate, in music, and that
Yeah,
brings
yeah.
in a
So
lot of
PU, right?
like yes from PU,
Yeah, yeah.
and so like he actually described that he didn't want to leave the hostel, and he just like stayed there, and he's like, even after I did, like, he started teaching there because he just wanted to stay. And an amazing depth if you look at it. And he, like, last year, I think last year or in 2019, he also did shows in like Portugal and Belgium, those countries which, like, there are not a lot of Punjabi speakers doing shows there.
Exactly.
This is a very, like, uh,
Nobody else does it, I guess.
yeah, I think yes, and like amazing stuff.
I think if I'm not wrong, he married a student of his, right? Is it
I
right? I heard
I
some.
didn't I haven't like yet gone to that part, like, of studying him, but I
I,
really don't listen to a lot of his
I just
like songs
recall
which
when
are
he said
included.
hostel or when he said that he was a professor there, so then
Yes,
when I recall.
yes, right.
I mean,
That is true.
yeah.
So
So
yeah,
I think yes, we're done for today. Is it?
yeah, yeah. Why not? Yeah.
We already
So
did.
yeah, is there anything else you would like to say to our viewers?
I'd say just subscribe to this podcast. There's a lot of there's a lot coming through coming your way in the
Yeah,
future as well. I
and
might have a reappearance. I
yes,
think we can discuss
definitely
some
yes,
other different things.
right.
Not chess though. I'm just.
Yeah,
I just don't
another
know. I mean, there's something called blind chess.
blindfold. Yes, and yes.
Blindfold. Like, what the hell is that?
Oh, so it's like people play with just the names and numbers, and they want
So how do
so
you memorize what is on the board right now? Like,
it's, I would say, again, it comes with like uh, learning. So let's say I would
can you
ask
do
you,
it?
what does pugnacious mean?
Well, I know Pugnesh, that's like aggressive. I know it.
Yes, and then, like, I still remember it because you associated it with the pug face.
Yeah.
I still remember it from those one of those slides. So that's how it
Exactly.
actually works. So it comes in with like a lot of practice. So there is like grandmasters can think of like moves a lot, many you know moves ahead from the current board. Like for me,
Yeah.
it's like most like one, two, maybe three moves sometimes. But grandmasters can think of variations. So there's a lot of videos if you check out, especially Gary Kasparov with like variations in his attack. But there's this movie,
I've
I
seen
think,
a
in
lot
the
of.
last
I
podcast.
recently
Yeah,
watched a lot of
yeah.
Magnus Carlsen videos, and there's this other
Right.
guy from. I think he's from the Netherlands. Is he?
Anish Giri.
Anish. Anish
Anish
Giri.
Giri. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah,
Even
he's from.
Vishy. Even our
Yeah.
own Vishy. Like he. I
Yeah.
think they can think of what 20 moves in front.
Yeah. That's
I'm amateur.
definitely
They
true.
can.
Yes.
I guess they can. Yes.
So yeah, that's how like blindfold chess works. So if you actually like the last time we had this podcast, we had this discussion about the movie called Searching for Bobby Fischer. It's actually on a like a documentary kind of stuff because it's based on Josh Wadskin. He's an international master from America, and I was really inspired by that guy. Like looking at his games and the way he used to learn chess, study chess. And I started that part. So he always said that start learning from end games, where there are not a lot of pieces left.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you see, when there are not a lot of pieces left, there's a lot of squares to move. You see what I'm
Exactly.
trying to say?
Yeah.
Initially, you
Yeah.
have a lot of moves, but most of the moves you can actually discard because they're not very good. But in the end game,
Okay.
each move is equally, plausible. But then you have to decide which move is actually good or not, and that is a very
It is more
difficult part to
critical.
learn.
It is more critical at the end, I guess.
Yes, that is true. So that part, so I really love endgames, and then that's how I started like learning chess. Uh, but that's again another part
So do
to
you play
discuss.
there at the university as well?
Yes, I used to play. So I've been some, I guess, the college part, or like the college chapter's vice president for like
Mhm.
ASU's College Chess Club. But
Okay.
so I do play for the university, and in the intra university tournaments, we were like invited for some tournaments, but I think we do not have a whole team to actually go. But we're working on it yet. So I think in the near future we'll be able to
Okay.
go there. Yeah.
And yeah, I'll ask you to teach me some chess.
Yeah, why not? Sure. Yep,
I
definitely.
know the rules. I know how these things move, but that's all I know.
Yep.
Nothing else.
Well, I would recommend definitely a few other things to you. Like, but we can, like, I think we'll talk after the
Yeah,
podcast.
we can.
Yeah, yeah,
We
why
can
not?
play a few games,
Yeah,
and you
why
can
not?
thrash me.
Yes.
You can thrash me
No,
then.
no, oh no, oh, I'll be. It'll be
Just keep telling me the
easy.
moves. I'll do whatever you say.
Yeah, why not?
Right.
Right, guys. I think then this marks the end of this week's podcast. Also, Before that, Ishu, would you like to tell about your podcast also?
Oh yes, the football show.
Yeah.
so so there's another friend, another student of mine actually. I don't have a lot of friends, so I befriend my students. So,
That
but
is working.
that keeps me young, you know.
Yeah, that's also true.
But the thing is, like, there's this student of mine, and we used to talk a lot about football for many hours, I think.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. Once he recommended to me, why don't we do it in front of a microphone?
Right.
So we can record it, we can do it like a podcast sort of a thing. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
so we've recorded one episode. We've still not posted it yet though.
Uh-huh.
We're editing it a little, so we'll post it soon
Yep.
on Spotify and YouTube. So
Great.
the name of the channel, is, the Football Show India. Like that's the Instagram handle, the Football Show India, and otherwise it's the Football Show.
Right. I'll put
So
that
yeah,
in the description below. If
oh,
you
yes,
want to
yes,
go and
yes.
check that out.
Yeah,
Also,
that'll be great.
yeah, and follow Rudravir on Instagram. His handle is below his video. I'll spell it out for you. It's Vashisht19. And thank you for watching, guys. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe this video as much as possible.
Thank
And
you.
we'll keep trying to bring new episodes for you every week. Thank you and have a great day ahead.